Let's see what the Jeep Rubicon 392 is capable of. Full on the brake, full on the accelerator, and off we go. Oh my goodness. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392 Final Edition. And I have a couple of questions. First and foremost, I'm at Barnwell Mountain, so I want to see just how good this thing is off-road. And here at the end of 2024, with the fate of the 392 seemingly drifting away behind us, does Donald Trump and the incoming administration save the V8 Jeep? Stay tuned. Yes, gearheads, I have a few things to get out of the way now that I've got your attention. First, I want to thank Barnwell Mountain here just outside of Gilmer, Texas, for allowing us to make this our home off-road test course. And I absolutely love it out here. If you are in the area, definitely check the description down below to find out details about how you can come wheeling out here. It is a blast. Secondly, I want to thank Jeep for bringing me this Final Edition 392 because this is actually the first Jeep Wrangler I have had for a week's worth of testing here on the channel. I've tested these before. I've driven this exact one before, but I haven't been able to test them here where I test everything. So huge thanks to Jeep for bringing me this one to make it possible. Next up, I mentioned the 392 in the intro. There's a lot to talk about with this. First, I said, yeah, will Donald Trump and the incoming administration save the 392? And with this being badged a Final Edition, you would think, well, that's a little ludicrous, right? They've already said Final Edition. Well, the FCA side of Stellantis has never been all that true to their word when it comes to V8s in vehicles that might not ought to have the most powerful V8. Case in point, the 1 year only SRT Hellcat Durango that came back and is still lingering around to this day at the end of November 2024. So I ask you, this 392 Final Edition, is it worth saving? Well, yes, first and foremost, absolutely, it's worth saving. This one makes 470 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque from that 392 cubic inch or 6.4 liter naturally aspirated, oh so glorious HEMI V8 engine. I love it. It puts power down constantly to all four wheels. So there is no two-wheel drive in this. It is constantly four-wheel drive. It is the full-time four-wheel drive system that is optional in Sahara, but we get it standard here in Rubicon 392. And we get a standard 8-speed automatic with this one as well. But this thing is so glorious. And you might have noticed before I opened the hood, the snorkel on this. Jeep had to do a lot of work with this hydro guide system to make sure only air got into the air box here. So you can see there is a lot of plumbing, as I call it, from the nose of this vehicle to allow air into the air box and water to drain off that side, cooling the engine in the process, but not going into the air box here. So a lot of work has gone into putting that schnoz on the front of the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Speaking of that schnoz, since now you know it is fully functional, it is adorned with the 392 badge outlined in gold bronze, as is the anti-glare hood decal here on top of it. We do have some topography of, I'm sure, Moab there on the top of it. But again, anti-glare right here on the raised portion of the hood, all trimmed in that bronze gold, as is our Rubicon down the side, as is the little flare from our air exit here on the side. 392 Final Edition, bronze on the trail rated, bronze on the Jeep, bronze, 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 and even more up here on the front bumper. Full steel front bumper. It does have those modular end pieces that are removable, so you can have a better approach angle there. But we get those bronze tow hooks right there and a built-in worn winch for if, we'll go ahead and say, some people while you are out wheeling need help, because as we will get to later, I doubt you're gonna need it for yourself, though it is entirely possible. Full LED headlights with that new grille that was introduced late in 23 for all 24 models moving forward. We do have LED fog lights, LED turn signals, massive over fenders on this one. It is a stellar looking Jeep, especially in this hydro blue paint against the glorious red dirt of Barnwell Mountain here in East Texas. Lots of iron ore out here, guys. And then Jeep truly does know the wheeling community, because they didn't do something stupid and put 18s, 19s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It seems like wheel sizes have absolutely gotten out of control, even in off-road branded models. Take, for instance, the 2025 Tahoe Z71 with its standard 20-inch wheels. I think that is ridiculous. We get 17-inch beadlock-capable wheels here. They are the bronzish kind of color. You get the Willys center cap there, and then they are wrapped in these glorious BFGoodrich all-terrain TA KO2s. These are 315/70 R17s. Not only do they make this vehicle extremely comfortable and competent here off-road, they have made it very comfortable on-road. I absolutely love the on-road capabilities of additional sidewall on tires. So yes, they are really put on this vehicle for additional off-road capability, but I'll go ahead and tease our family review just a little bit. This thing ain't bad on the road either. This is the most comfortable regular production, not special order AEV edition Jeep Wrangler I've ever spent time in. It is so good. It is so nice. As we move down the side of the vehicle, you can see here we do have some rock sliders, which are very nice. We have tons of underbody protection down underneath the vehicle. I'm trying to not get covered in this red dirt myself, but you can see all the underbody protection. We have solid axles front and rear, something its main rival from Ford cannot claim. So Ford really leaned into that ride comfort thing by giving it an independent front suspension on their Bronco. Jeep said, no, we are traditional solid axles front and rear. And the day that goes away is the day, well, the world freezes over. This Wrangler Rubicon 392, also with those bigger KO2 tires, has increased ground clearance, because again, with solid axles, your lowest point is generally your differential. So we have 11.1 inches of ground clearance in this. Our approach angle is something ridiculous, 46.7. It just seems like video game numbers, like you're creating your own off-roader. You crank everything up all the way. The breakover is 24.5. You can get better in a two-door Jeep, but you can't get the 392 in a two-door Jeep. The departure angle is 39.8, and I think a lot of that has to do with the rear exhaust and that massive tire hanging off of the back. But really, really do love the style, the look of this thing. You can see we've got that metal fuel door on the back. As we move around to the back of the vehicle, this being the most expensive Jeep Wrangler ever, it has all the things. LED lights up front translate to LED lights in the back. We have our blind spot monitors here, and these hang way off of the side of the vehicle so that it can see all the way around the vehicle, your over fenders. And then you have your rear camera that sticks out of your spare tire, because again, you need to be able to see around. Rear backup cameras are federally mandated, so both Ford and Jeep kind of had to figure that out. Both do the exact same thing, but whew, it sure does make getting that spare off not so much fun. To deal with the additional weight of that spare, we have some Jeep performance parts, accessories here helping hold that spare on. Full steel rear bumper, and then we have our 4-exit exhaust back here for that 392 to breathe. It is a dual mode exhaust that you can make louder with the push of a button. from the inside, and oh, it just sounds so glorious. And then another thing, this has absolutely one up over the Ford Bronco, is just how easy that swing gate is to open. The Bronco uses a hydraulic arm to modulate how fast that closes, but it also makes it near impossible just to swing open. So I really like Jeep wins on the ease of getting into the back of their vehicle. You can see we get a lift gate here because we do have that Sky one-touch roof, which means these side panels are actually removable, but with all the dust out here that you're about to see as these vehicles pass by me, I was not about to do that today. We've got plenty of room on the inside for all of your gear for a weekend adventure, whatever the case may be, for overlanding, because it is a big square back here. Even the additional bracing, for the fact that we do have removable roof options across Jeep lineup, does not get in the way. Jeep has really thought about cargo capacity back here when placing and designing those braces. Another Jeep accessory that we have on our particular model is the camping table tray back here. We have a metal tray that does fold out back here. You can see we've got the Jeep headlights here as cup holders, but a trail-ready workspace that does hold up to 25 pounds. It allows you to get some work done, do some camping, whatever the case may be back here. We got our little Willies there just greeting us through the cup holder as we close it. So I like that a lot. Another thing specific to 392, we have an onboard compressor. So really like that. You're gonna most likely be airing down. You know, here on the channel, we never air down. We always show you what the vehicle is capable of at highway pressures. So we don't typically air down, but we could and air back up with the built-in compressor. And lastly, Jeep always puts some specs here on the swing gate, the panel, telling about the vehicle. You can see the wheelbase, the overall length, and we don't get our approach and departure angles printed specifically on here, but we get some specifics about that engine. Again, 470 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, a little bit of a diagram of it too. Also developed in Auburn Hills and built in Toledo, Ohio. So there you go. Very easy to get into, open, and close the back, even with that massive tire on the back. But you came to this video to see what this thing was like off-road, and for me to talk more about Donald Trump, right? So let's talk about that 392 V8. It's a lot of fun. Part of the fun of having a V8 is hearing a V8. Part of the fun of having this vehicle is hearing it. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, it's always there, and you can make it louder, though I already have, with the push of this button right here, opening up that secondary exhaust baffle and really letting this thing scream. Now, I know you can get a 4xe that makes the same amount of torque as this, but doesn't make the same amount of noise, doesn't bring the same amount of joy as this. This is what you want. And with the HEMI V8 dying out left and right within formerly FCA, but the Stellantis family of vehicles, one has to wonder just how long this V8 is going to stay with us. Because, well, it is one of, if not the last, vehicles you can get with a HEMI V8. Stellantis, Dodge more specifically, has already announced their final call of the HEMI-powered Durango, and now we are in the final call, the final edition, the last send-off of the 392 in a Jeep product, or at least that's what we know as of now. I can say here in November of 2024 that the media site still, to this day, the media site lists the 6.4 liter HEMI V8 as one of the engine choices, even though the build and price on the website for consumers does not. So there are some 392s still lingering out there for the 2025 model year, but they're probably not a final edition. Not quite sure how you get your hands on them as of yet. As of this one, $108,000 for this final edition. Yes, it's something a little bit special, but maybe we'll get some more. Again, we're not quite sure. Stellantis, FCA, Dodge, Jeep, they've gone back on their V8 death word before, as I mentioned with that Dodge Durango. One is hoping that they will do it again here with this 392 Jeep, because I was there in 2020 when they first started teasing this before it became a reality, and then shortly thereafter, voila, here we go. But now, just a few short years later, they're saying, no mas, it's gonna go. And I wonder just how much of that had to do with the outgoing administration and their cut down on greenhouse gases and vehicle emissions. Now with not only Donald Trump in the White House, but a full Republican majority, and I know Republicans aren't exactly first and foremost on Save the Planet, will they save V8s from the chopping block by reversing some mandates and some government regulations that have been choking the life out of fun engines like this one for the last 4 years? One could only hope. There is a glimmer in the possible future regulations or lack thereof coming out of Washington, D.C. And for gearheads like us that like to burn fuel and hear it combust as we mash the throttle, well, perhaps these next 4 years will be a slight change of pace. Now, is this a perfect vehicle? No, far from it. As you can see, we have a new Uconnect screen here, much bigger, much brighter, and I can attest to driving the half hour to hour to get out here to Barnwell Mountain with the roof open. It is still completely viewable with direct sun on it. So I do like that, though there seem to be some gremlins in the software because I can't keep it from bouncing back and forth from thinking I'm holding one of the soft keys on the screen. Something is wrong with it. I will do a reset when I get home, but we've got some gremlins. That too, this is not a perfect on-road vehicle, though, as I mentioned, it is the best on-road version of the Wrangler that I've sampled to date, and I love that. But with removable roofs and all that goes with that, it is a little creaky, it is a little rattly in here. So if you're wanting a polished ride, get the Lexus GX instead. So I couldn't let having the fastest Jeep around go without using my new Racebox timer. This is a GPS enabled 0 to 60 timer. It does a whole lot more to that, lap timer, things like that. If you want to get one for yourself, they are providing you with a great deal. 15% off using our discount code. All the information is down below. But we're here, we're on a straight stretch of pavement. Let's see what the Jeep Rubicon 392 is capable of. Quick note, it did go and get cold on us, so it is a little colder than it normally is when we do this. But full on the brake, full on the accelerator, and off we go. Oh my goodness. This thing is so fast. Woo! 4.36 seconds, 0 to 60. My goodness. In what is essentially a giant brick. 4.36 seconds. I want one of these. I want one of these. My goodness. Full stop. We are going slightly uphill. Full on the brake, as hard as I can be. And there we go. We got a little wheel hop on that one, but so far it's proven to be my best. 4.42. My goodness, sub 5 second 0 to 60 time in a giant brick. That is impressive. Huge kudos to Jeep. What? If you want to make this Racebox timer yours and 0 to 60 test your rig, lap time your rig, Find all the details down in the description below. Another reason why I'm unabashedly Team Jeep when it comes to the off-road debate is four-wheel drive. You have a manual do-it-yourself transfer case right here, so you know when you're in for low. I love that. We also have sway bar disconnects here, though you can't disconnect them under load like you can on the Ford Bronco. And I have front and rear lockers in this one too, so there is a lot of technology built into making this thing a beast off-road. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit more as we get going here, because I am going to go through our normal off-road test, which is getting slightly more treacherous the more time goes on. That's why I like coming out here to Barnwell just so much, because, well, let's face it, this is a real off-road park that gets used and that gets weathered in storms, in different situations. It's not a pre-built off-road something just to show off the features of a vehicle. So I love coming out here to test. All that to say that Twister, our normal drop-in right here, is getting very treacherous. The last Toyota product I brought out here, the Sequoia TRD Pro, could not even do this. And the last General Motors product that I had, and the Hummer EV, actually dropped itself down and drug its belly on this drop-in right here. This is becoming a very treacherous little drop-in just due to people driving this course, and I love it. But in this Wrangler 392, with my over 11 inches of ground clearance, my good breakover and approach departure angles, I'm not so much worried about what this thing is like off-road. I've been able to take this on things that I don't typically take this when I'm out here off-road testing vehicles, which you'll see here in just a moment. Usually I take different lines than what I'm about to today, but here I've got the confidence of knowing that I've got a strong platform underneath me and the approach and departure angles to back me up. So normally right here, I typically joke, we've got three paths in front of us where my tire placement is currently pointing is something I don't think I will ever have a vehicle to test out here and do. This line directly in front of us is kind of my wuss out line, because you can see we've got a sharp rock over here to the left and a kind of a steep angle that you really have to worry about on some vehicles, but you can see that Rubicon 392 simply just walks right up it. And then again, up here, I've got three different choices. I typically go to my far left just to test vehicles. You can go straight ahead, but you've got that branch over hanging over top. But there has only been one other vehicle that I have tested on the channel where I go here to the far right, and that was a GMC Canyon AT4, and I love that thing here off-road. You can see that this is getting quite worn out and weathered. We've got a lot of iron ore here in East Texas, hence the red color, and we've got a lot of jagged rocks and sharp edges and a cliff face right here in front of me, but a strategic rock to help climb over this very steep face. But again, those vehicle game like numbers in our off-road approach, departure, and breakover angle almost render that null and void. You just climb right over it. It is truly remarkable how easy this Rubicon makes all of that. It is so much fun doing the slow technical stuff. You know me here on the channel, I like splashing through mud, which we've already done, and then I like these slow technical stuff, and we're gonna get a little bit more of that right here. I will say this portion that we're about to drive down used to be where we tested crossovers, but again, going to the fact that this is a real usable off-road park and how weather takes its toll, you will see crossovers are no longer welcome on this, especially going this direction. We have a giant cliff face staring at my left front tire. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the front corner pieces taken off of the bumper. So I am going to give that driver's side tire just a little bit of help climbing over that. But you can see, oh, there's the back tire. Quite extreme, and definitely no crossovers welcome on this little trek anymore. But yes, we've tested Subaru Foresters going up this trail. Can't quite do that anymore, but you need something as capable as a Jeep to climb that rock face, that cliff face that we had staring down at us. Now, I will say, with all that power and torque, I don't know that I really need to be in 4 low for any of this. It does hamper my turning radius. Getting around in 4 high obviously is much easier, but I do want to just be able to walk through some of this stuff and show you just how capable like all this articulation is. I've met the belly of many a vehicle on some of these washouts, but the 392 simply walks over all of it, making it kind of boring, I'm guessing, for y'all on camera, and fun for me here in the cabin because the vehicle's twisting all the way around me. I can feel it flexing underneath me, but it is making this a cakewalk for the Jeep itself. And then I will say, these forward-facing cameras, I love that we now have trail cams on Wranglers. I think a front-facing camera really does help you see, not necessarily elevation or anything like that, but when there's a legit obstacle, something you can't go over, maybe you need to miss right there in front of you. I like the fact that we get our trajectory lines of our front tires up there as well. It really does make wheeling in situations where a spotter isn't necessary just that much better, because now I don't have to worry about tearing something up because I hit a rock or just didn't have the right tire placement, like climbing that rock earlier. So there you have it. 392 Rubicon Final Edition. Would I buy it? If I had $108,000, absolutely I would. This thing makes all of the obstacles out here almost too easy. Yes, there's some more stuff that I can and probably will do after I've turned the cameras off. We've got a rock garden. We've got some further trails that I want to explore while I've got the most capable Wrangler Rubicon in my possession. But as for me and for this test, that's going to be it. If you want to see more from us, including how this performs on road with Holly behind the wheel, Tucker in the back seat, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the bell so you're notified when future videos drop from us. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it, all at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, at least for y'all, that is the end of the road. Until next time, bye. A placement. Perfect. Cakewalk. Should call this the Billy Goat because it just walks over everything. Taking a different line. Am I going to regret it? No. I may have touched the belly a little there. Oh.